Good morning, everyone. Hope all are doing good at home. So I know that your 10th class students don't have holidays, so you are doing the work in holidays also. And ma'am has been informed me that you are all writing online tests and submitting her. So I am I am back again to teach you biology. So at farewell, I told you that I will leave school this year, but I am back. So bear with me for this year also. So we have already completed three chapters in 10th class biology. So now I want to recapitulate the third, that is the third chapter, transportation. We have completed our environment and nutrition and transportation also, but I am left with one topic in transportation in plants. So that I will complete in this class. When I was teaching transportation lesson, all did not understand this particular topic, the structure of heart, and also the lymphatic system and double circulation, single circulation always. So let us take one class for revising those topics. Then I will continue with the leftover topic. So first let us do structure of heart. Then I will explain, I will revise single circulation, double circulation, lymphatic system also once. In structure of heart, so first you have to write where is heart located and what is the shape, color, size of it. So if the location of the heart is at the center between two lungs and it is slightly tilted towards the left, and the color is reddish brown color, and size is approximately of your size of your fist. Okay, so when you fold your thumb and hold fist like this, so your heart is approximately in the size of your fist, and it is a triangular shape or pear shape. Okay, so this is location, size, shape of the heart. And so when you talk about the structure of heart, the heart is covered by two layers, outer and inner layers. These membranes are called pericardial membranes, and in between two membranes, like for example, if you take this is the outer and this is the inner membrane. So in between these two membranes, there is a fluid. This fluid is called pericardial fluid. So this pericardial fluid will prevent the heart from the shocks, and this fluid will absorb the shocks and do not affect the function of the heart. Okay, so now let us study the internal structure of heart. So heart is internally divided into four chambers. The upper two chambers are called atria. Atria is a plural word and atrium is a singular word. Okay, and the lower two chambers are called ventricles. So the right side atrium is called right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. And now these chambers are also again divided by the layer called septa. Okay, so this septa is the membrane or the layer that divides the four chambers of the heart. So now let us study about the function of the heart. So remember always the right side of the heart contains deoxygenated blood. That is, there will be no oxygen or the carbon dioxide is present in the blood. So that is called deoxygenated blood. And left side of the heart always contains the oxygenated blood, that is fresh blood. The deoxygenated blood from our body is collected by the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So superior vena cava collects the blood from the upper part of the body, that is from your head, face, neck and all, and inferior vena cava collects the blood from the inferior part of your body, that is from your limbs. Okay, and these collected deoxygenated blood will be passed to the right atrium. So now this right atrium will send the blood to the right ventricle, and this right ventricle will pass the blood to the pulmonary artery. Now this pulmonary artery will send the blood to the lungs for the oxygenation of the blood. So you all know that lungs take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So what the oxygen that we inhale is stored is given to the deoxygenated blood, and that blood becomes the oxygenated blood, and the carbon dioxide that is present in the deoxygenated blood is sent out from the lungs. Okay, so now always remember the pulmonary term is always related to the lungs. Okay, so pulmonary artery is related to the lungs. So when right ventricle passes the blood to the pulmonary artery, so this pulmonary artery carries the blood to the lungs. There the deoxygenated blood gets oxygenated, then that blood becomes the oxygenated blood. So that oxygenated blood is collected from pulmonary veins and it is given to the left atrium. So from left atrium it is given to left ventricle, and this left ventricle will give the blood to the aorta, and this aorta is the largest artery in our body, and this aorta will supply the oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. And remember always, arteries carry only oxygenated blood and veins carry only deoxygenated blood in our body. But when you talk about the structure of heart, and only the pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood and pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. So only the pulmonary vein or pulmonary artery is reverse here, but always the arteries contain oxygenated blood and veins contain deoxygenated blood. So when this aorta gets the blood from the left ventricle, it now passes the blood to the all parts of the body. So this aorta will have branches. Those are called arteries. So these arteries will give the oxygenated blood to the cells of our body. There are valves also present in our heart. So these valves are also important structures of the heart. So I told you as like valves are like the tap. Like when you on the tap, the water flows. When you off the tap, the water stops. So the same way, valves are same like the taps that you use. Okay. So when a heart like atrium has to send the blood to the ventricle, then the valves open. Then the blood will flow from atrium to ventricles. So these valves will also prevent the backflow of the blood. Like blood should travel only in one direction, that is from atrium to ventricle, but not from ventricle to atrium. So these valves also prevent the backflow of the blood. Okay. So the two main valves are systemic valves and pulmonary valves. So pulmonary valves are present near the pulmonary artery, like between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery, and left ventricle and the aorta, because the blood from right ventricle will flow to pulmonary artery and blood from left ventricle will flow to aorta. So the pulmonary valves are present near the arteries, and the systemic valves are present between the atrium and ventricle on the both sides of the heart, that is right side and the left side. And these valves are also called arterioventricular valves, because these are present in between atrium and the ventricle. So these atrioventricular valves are two. The valve present between right atrium and right ventricle is tricuspid valve, and the valve present between left atrium and left ventricle is bicuspid valve, and it is also called mitral valve. Okay, so these valves prevent the backflow of the blood, and when this will allow the blood from the atrium to the ventricle. Okay, so we have completed the structure of heart, how the heart looks and the internal structure of heart, and what are the important parts present in that. Okay, so this cardiac cycle is very important in the functioning of the heart, as this cardiac cycle is defined as one contraction and one relaxation of atria and ventricles. So one contraction and relaxation of atria and ventricles is called cardiac cycle. So this cardiac cycle takes 0.8 seconds to complete. So let us think the heart is in the relaxation mode. That is, the heart is expanded and it is empty, so that the blood comes into the heart. So when inferior vena cava and superior vena cava collects the blood, it gives the blood to the atrium. And the same way, pulmonary veins collect the blood and give it to left atrium. So the atrium now is in relaxation. So when atria is relaxed, the blood flows into the atria, and when the atria are full with the blood, then the atria get contracted. Now the valves here between atria and ventricle will open and the blood flows from the atrium to the ventricle. Okay, so now this contraction of the atria will give the blood to the ventricles. So after some time, these ventricles also will be filled with the blood. Right side, the ventricle is filled with deoxygenated blood, and left ventricle is filled with the oxygenated blood. So now this blood has to be given to the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So now these ventricles get contracted, and this the blood present in these ventricles, now these are pumped into those valves. Okay, so I already told you, imagine the bottle with full water. So when you press the bottle, the water will be pumped out. Okay, the same way, when the ventricles get contracted, the blood from the ventricles is given into the pulmonary artery. So that pulmonary artery will give blood to the lungs. And from left ventricle, it is given to aorta. So aorta give blood to the all body parts. So now when contraction occurs of the ventricles, so you already know that the heart beats gives the sound called lub-dub. Okay, so how that sound develops is contraction. When ventricles get contracted, the lub sound develops. Okay, and when after it gives blood, so the ventricles get relaxed. So that the blood from atrium should be given to the ventricles again. So when ventricles are relaxed, so the relaxation of ventricles will produce the sound called dub. So these together gives the sound lub-dub, that is the sound of our heart. So our next topic is single circulation and double circulation. So in single circulation, the blood is collected from to the heart only once. That is, the blood enters the heart only one time. That is why it is called single circulation. Like for example, if body parts is giving the deoxygenated blood to the heart. So the heart is collecting the deoxygenated blood. So now this heart will give deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So here the deoxygenated blood will become oxygenated blood. So now these lungs directly pass the oxygenated blood to the body parts. So that is only once the blood is entering the heart. So it is called single circulation, and it is mainly seen in birds, fish and other reptiles. Okay, and the double circulation is mainly seen in mammals, like human beings, animals, like that. And in this double circulation, the blood enters twice the heart, that is 2 times in the heart. So when body parts is giving deoxygenated blood to the heart, here heart collects the deoxygenated blood and it is again sending the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So here the lungs directly don't give oxygenated blood to the body parts. Instead, these oxygenated blood from the lungs is given to heart. So now heart will pump the blood into all the body parts. So that is why it is called double circulation. Topic is the blood vessels. So the presence of blood vessels was experimented and confirmed by William Harvey. So he have done some experiments which you can read in your textbook, and there are two main types of blood vessels that carry the blood in our body. So those two are arteries and veins. So arteries always carries oxygenated blood and veins always carries deoxygenated blood. So when arteries carry oxygenated blood, so this blood should be pure and without any contamination. So due to this, the arteries are very thick walled and the pressure here is more because ventricles contract with some pressure and give up the blood to the aorta. So the pressure here is more, so the blood vessels has to bear that pressure, so the walls of these arteries will be thicker and the lumen, that is the space inside this blood vessel in which the blood flows, is very small. So due to this, the pressure is high in arteries when compared to veins. Whereas if you take veins contains or carries deoxygenated blood. So there is very thin wall or the thin layer that is present in the walls of these blood vessels, and the lumen is more. Okay, and the main important thing is veins carries valves, because deoxygenated blood should not again enter the heart. Okay, should not go back in reverse direction. So these valves, as you know, valves will prevent the backflow of the blood. So the veins contains valves, whereas valves are absent in arteries. So these arteries and veins both again divide into capillaries. So these blood capillaries, like if you take an example of a tree, so these are capillaries, like these arteries cannot reach every cell of the body. So these again divide into capillaries. So these capillaries, like if you take, this is the aorta of the heart. So aorta of the heart gives the blood to the different like branches or the stem, where you consider this as the arteries. So these arteries again give the blood to the capillaries. Like roots have, like a tree has roots, the same way arteries again subdivide into capillaries. So this way oxygenated blood is carried and it is given to the body parts. And the same way there are capillaries which carries deoxygenated blood. So these capillaries all together come and form venules. These venules come and these venules form veins. So these veins again give the blood to the vena cava, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So these are different types of blood vessels that are present in our body, and if the blood flows inside these blood vessels, this is called closed circulation. If blood is flowing within the cells or in between the cells without any blood vessels, so these are that type of circulation is called open type of circulation. So the closed type of circulation is seen in higher animals like mammals and also some other animals. But whereas if you take open circulation, like you have already learned in 9th class, there are many phylums of the in Animalia. So like Platyhelminthes, there you can find open type of circulation where blood does not flow inside the blood vessels. Topic that we have dealt is the lymphatic system. So where lymph means water, or it is also called tissue fluid. Okay, so this lymph is present in our tissues. So like blood contains all the nutrients that our body wants. So it also transports the oxygen to our cells. So these are not directly given to our cells. So there is separate system like circulatory system. There is lymphatic system present in our body that is parallel to the circulatory system. So this lymphatic system contains lymph, like blood circulatory system or this circulation in where blood flows inside it. The same way lymphatic system contains the lymph. So this lymph is it is only the water or the fluid contained or that is present in the tissue, that these tissues give out the excess water or the excretory products which are not useful to those tissues, and this lymphatic tissue acts as the bridge between the tissues and the circulatory system. So these tissues will give the different types of microorganisms which are harmful to us or extra fluid that is present in the tissues. These are given to lymphatic system. Now this lymphatic system gives to the circulatory system. So this is also called as the drainage of our body. Okay, so the drainage system of our body is called lymphatic system. And also the nutrients or the oxygen that is present inside in the blood, that has to be given to the tissues. So the same way as it takes the waste products, the same way blood transports the nutrients or the oxygen to the lymphatic system. Now this lymphatic system will give the oxygen or the nutrients to the tissues. So I already told you that when you sit for long time, like in your when you travel in bus or when you do long journeys, so your legs will be swollen up, like your legs swell. Why those legs? Why your legs swell if you sit for long time? This is because, like already told you, that veins contains the valves, like they stop the backflow of the, prevent the backflow of the blood. The same way lymph vessels also contain the valves which stop or prevent the backflow of the lymph. Okay, so when you fold or when you change your position, like if you sit, your leg position is different. So if you sit for long time, the fluid cannot pass, it cannot circulate in your body and fluid accumulates at the particular place there. Okay, so that is why your the legs will be swollen up when you sit for long time, and that is called, that condition where you find this swelling in your body, that is called as edema. Okay, the swelling in our body is called edema. If you see the redness in your body, that is called erythema. Okay, so the important thing is lymph. It is the drainage system of our body. So it contains the fluid without any blood cells, and it is same as the plasma. Like blood contains plasma and as well as blood cells. So it is made up of, like the composition is same as the plasma, but it only contains the white blood cells. So these white blood cells are present in the lymph, which act as the fighters or the defenders against the harmful microorganisms. Like if any harmful microorganisms enter our body, these white blood cells will fight against it and give us the immunity. So these white blood cells are present in the lymph, and blood have blood, like circulatory system of blood vessels, the same way lymphatic system has lymph vessels. So these lymph vessels again collect at one point. So this point is called lymph node. So this lymph node acts as the filter. Okay, so the lymph is filtered here and it is sent in the lymphatic vessels, or it is again sent back to the tissues. So this is all about the lymphatic system. The next thing is blood pressure, or it is commonly called as BP or hypertension. Okay, so this people always say that I have a BP, or he have BP, she she has BP. So BP is present in everyone. So BP is the blood pressure. The pressure in which the blood which it has to flow or it has to circulate in the body. So it needs some pressure to circulate in our body. So that is called blood pressure. So blood pressure is present in every organism. When there is fluctuation in the reading of the blood pressure, then that condition is called hypertension. Okay, so if the blood pressure is more, it is more high BP they say, and if it is low, it is the low BP. Okay, so how it is measured is, I already told you that ventricles contract with some pressure to give the blood into the aorta and into the pulmonary artery. So that pressure is called systolic pressure. Okay, the systolic pressure is very high because the ventricles has to pump the blood out of the heart. So the pressure should be more. So this is called systolic pressure, and it occurs when ventricles contract. So the reading is 120 mm here. And diastolic pressure is when ventricles get relaxed. So that the blood from atrium should be filled into the ventricles. So in that period the ventricles get relaxed. So the pressure is very low at that time because there is no pumping of the blood, because ventricles take the blood into the chambers. So here the reading is 80 mm. So the normal BP every person having is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. So these units are very important. If any question is asked or if you write any answer, the normal BP, if you write only 120 by 80, you won't get marks, because what 120 by 80, you have to give units. So mm of Hg. Hg is it is the symbol for mercury. Okay, so Hg, because the instrument in which the BP is by which BP is measured is sphygmomanometer. Okay, so here that instrument contains mercury, so that is why in terms of mercury we are giving the units. Okay, so if there is any fluctuation in the reading, like if it is not 120 or if it is higher than 120, 130, 140, 150, then you call it as high BP. If it is lower than 120, then it is called low BP. Okay, so the BP is normal, like in average age the BP is 120 by 80, but because of the age also BP changes. In old old people, they may have 140 as the higher level, or here 90 or 100 in the lower level. So that is normal for old aged people. Okay, so the normal BP is 120 by 80 mm of Hg. So the next topic is coagulation of blood. Coagulation is nothing but the clotting of blood. Like if anyone gets injury, or if there is any cut on the skin, so the capillaries which are present on the skin get ruptured. So the blood comes out of the blood vessels. So if blood comes out of the blood vessels in the same flow, so there is a loss of blood in our body. So there is a need for the blood to get clotted or coagulated. Like if you observe after 5 minutes when you get after you get injury, so you can find the solid yellowish or the reddish solid ball like structure that is present on the skin, upper part of the skin where you get wound. Okay, so that is called the clot. So this clot occurs in 3 to 6 minutes, within 3 to 6 minutes after you get any injury or the wound. Okay, so this coagulation of blood is mainly the responsibility of blood cells called platelets. So these platelets will have clotting factors. So these clotting factors are nothing but the proteins or the enzymes that are present in the platelets. So when any injury occurs on the skin, or if there is any rupture in the blood vessels, so the platelets release clotting factors. These clotting factors are especially like thrombokinase, so this is called the clotting factor or the clotting enzyme. So this enzyme acts on prothrombin. So this prothrombin, when thrombokinase acts on prothrombin, prothrombin gets changed into thrombin. Okay, so now this thrombin is formed with the help of thrombokinase. So this thrombin will now help in converting fibrinogen to fibrin. So this fibrin are nothing but thread-like structures that come together to form a network. So this network will prevent the flow of blood out of the capillaries. So in this way, the clotting of the blood occurs with the help of thrombokinase and thrombin, where thrombokinase helps in converting prothrombin into thrombin. Now this thrombin is formed after this conversion. So this thrombin will help in converting fibrinogen into fibrin. So the important vitamin that is essential for clotting of blood is vitamin K. If there is deficiency in vitamin K, so there is more, the blood takes more time to get clotted or coagulated, and also the clotting of blood will not occur in some diseased persons like thalassemia, if you hear. So those are genetic disorders that they develop. So those some patients cannot their platelets cannot work properly, or the clotting factors will not be released, and there is loss of the blood in them. So the important enzymes are these, and the vitamin K helps in the clotting of the blood. This is all about the transportation in the animals, or like in our humans. The structures that are present in the body of the animals, how the heart works, or what is the function of heart, that we have seen. In next class we will see transportation in plants.